Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for 6 things that we learned from Chelsea 2, Plymouth 1 in the FA Cup 5th round. As you can probably tell from my voice, once again, over the course of the weekend, I had a very busy weekend. I was moving house, had birthdays again, and all of a sudden, the throat is back, everything is sore, and it's got to the point now where this is kind of a repetition every few weeks at the moment, but it's the world we live in, so you're going to have to bide with me, or bear with me, should I say, with the croakiness of my voice. But Chelsea are through, which is the main thing in the FA Cup. No matter what result is or what the performance is, the key thing is that you progress into the next round. We played against League One opposition. First things first, credit to Plymouth, who were the away side. They filled out the shed. They were excellent. They took the lead after I think it was 20 odd minutes, and Chelsea looked shell-shocked. When Plymouth scored that goal, we're all stood there with our hands on our hips thinking, oh dear, there have been questions about us now for a while, and now we've got to come back at Stamford Bridge in a match that, regardless of whether our manager is on the touchline or not, which he wasn't, we've got to come back and get a result here. And as much as the performance as a whole didn't impress anybody, there were positive moments, there were concrete proof of certain things and thoughts and philosophies and ideas that we've been umming and ahhing about in recent weeks from this game. As a result of this result against Plymouth, or the performance against Plymouth, there are some things now that I think are absolutely staple that we have to do moving forward. And there are some things that we're going to go through in this video today where I do not see how we can continue with some other things as well. Chelsea get the job done. We have drawn Luton away, which is a repeat, I think, of the 94 semi-final for the FA Cup. We've got Luton away in the 5th round for a place in the quarter-finals. But we begin box number 1 with a man who, well, is in the team because Edouard Mendy just went and won the African Cup of Nations. So he needed to take a little break with Senegal to go and win yet another trophy, which is great news for Edouard Mendy, great news for Chelsea, builds the keeper's confidence again. And then when your first choice keeper goes away to the African Cup of Nations, we are absolutely heroically blessed to have Kepa Arrizabalaga still at Chelsea Football Club. Every time he wins us a match by saving a penalty like he did in injury time in one of the most decisive moments of the game, Kepa keeps Chelsea in the FA Cup. Kepa keeps us in one of the biggest trophies that every single season we want to win. Now, you know, there's not much he could have done about the goal. It's basically an own goal. It looked more like an own goal to me than a Plymouth player got himself on the end of it. Kepa, though, absolutely magnificent. It isn't just he's parried the ball away. He's managed to keep hold of that. He knew exactly where the Plymouth attacker was going to go, and he ends up saving it fantastically well, which inevitably, as much as Alonso scores the winning goal, no disrespect to Marcus Alonso again, he will get some credit in this video for sure because he did score the winner in a cup tie. But Kepa is the one who made the massive difference here. It's a phenomenal penalty save, and I know I keep going on about it, but there was something about this weekend when we look at the FA Cup results, we look at some of the shocks or the near shocks. You got Middlesbrough going to Old Trafford. Don't really know if that's a shock, to be honest, but they won on penalties. You got West Ham needing a last-second Declan Rice equaliser to end up going through and knocking out Kidderminster, and a goal from Jared Bowen with about 10-15 seconds to go in extra time to beat Kidderminster Harriers. You got Boreham Wood, non-league Boreham Wood, going to Bournemouth, who are fighting for a place in the Premier League next season. They win as well. So these moments where our second choice goalkeeper, who cost us 72 million quid, I have to always bring this up because the price tag gets brought up when Kepa's not doing so well in 2019 when he was arguably one of the worst keepers in Europe. That is a fair comment to make, I think. People were talking about the price tag, myself included, all the time. Frustration. What have we actually done by spending this much money on this goalkeeper? Then Edouard Mendy comes in, knocks him out of the first choice place at Chelsea Football Club. And ever since that moment, it would have been very easy for Kepa to either force a move away from Chelsea, get absolutely complacent beyond belief with the fact that, well, my career here's gone down the drain, so what do I need to bother doing? Well, what Kepa's done is every time he's been called upon, every time he's been needed, he's turned up with massive moments, and more often than not, he's winning matches for Chelsea as opposed to helping Chelsea lose matches. So I'm delighted for Kepa. I gave him a blue box. We move into box number 2, Azpilicueta. You know, the goal itself is a masterstroke from Azpi. It's a lovely little flick. He's in a brilliant position to be there in the first place, by the way. I love the fact that once again, it is our defenders in the box who are scoring the goals because, well, if it wasn't for them, then we would be a little bit stuck at this point, wouldn't we? Timo Werner misses one of the easiest chances he should ever be able to score. How the Plymouth defenders managed to get back and actually block that attempt, I will never know. Lukaku, well, we're going to get into him in a moment, but Azpi, in a game where Chelsea didn't play well, it are these moments again, just the same with Kepa making the penalty save, where your captain, your European champion captain, sometimes needs to come up with something unorthodox compared to what we're used to from him, and he did that with a goal just before half-time in the 41st minute. I thought Azpi was good. I think overall, one of the main things that Chelsea struggled with in this game is the transition. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more a little later, but we move into box number 3. And I've got to have a little rant about this guy again, because he's, every time, I said this about a month ago, every time Lukaku now steps onto a pitch for Chelsea and he looks disinterested, looks like he can't be bothered, has body language which is arguably worse than if I was to rock up being told to play my first professional game with a massive hangover. He looks worse than what I'd have looked like if that was what I was told to do. Lukaku does not look bothered to be playing for Chelsea anymore whatsoever. We saw in the first few weeks of his coming back to Chelsea when we just signed him, we saw this fire, we saw this passion, we saw big performances. And then all of a sudden, just because things didn't go his way, we had the whole interview saga. Since he's come back, I said it is imperative that Romelu Lukaku, if he doesn't keep scoring goals, he's got to at least look as though he's absolutely given it everything. And I'm sorry, there was no manager, well, our manager wasn't on the sidelines because Thomas Tuchel tested positive for COVID-19. No manager on the sidelines or not, it's up to the players that went out there. They know the instructions, they know the way we set up for this game. And I think Lukaku knows, at this moment in time, that it isn't just going to be a wave of a magic wand or the click of a bloody finger to actually fix the fact that he's not getting opportunities, he's not getting the service. But Lukaku is a man who, again, needs people to lay the ball off to, needs people to be coming towards him. But he isn't even getting himself into these positions, even against the physical League One side in Plymouth, a defence where Lukaku should have absolutely revelled in this, you know, being able to get his back into defenders, potentially drawing penalties for Chelsea, potentially just absolutely taking 2 players out the game in order to bring someone else in. We don't see it enough. It was a beautiful pass to feed Timo Werner, and Timo Werner should have scored the goal, which would have won us the game in normal time. But Lukaku, I've got to drop him now. If it's me, if I'm Thomas Tuchel in the Club World Cup, not only should Kai Havertz absolutely start both of these games if we win the semi and get into the final. It's not going to be easy. Al Hilal are a good side. They won 6-1 in the quarterfinal. So if Kai Havertz doesn't play in these games, I think it is an incredible injustice. Not only based off of the meritocracy of form does Lukaku not deserve to start, but Kai Havertz's goal and man of the match performance in the final is the reason we're even competing for the Club World Cup in the first place. So now I'm making it clear here on GBFC. I don't want Lukaku starting anymore. Yes, I understand the business side of things. We spent a lot of money on him and we want him to perform. But he isn't performing. We've got to draw the line. Didn't get substituted again as well, which I find bizarre. But we've got to take him out of the team for this game in the Club World Cup. We move into box number 4. And it's another green for a man who is building some serious momentum right now, Hakim Ziyech. Hakim Ziyech playing on that right-hand side is a totally different player to a Hakim Ziyech coming off the bench or a Hakim Ziyech playing anywhere else on the pitch. He looked very, very comfortable once more on that right-hand side. And I would say at the moment, as much as we keep talking about this confusion that Thomas Tuchel might have about picking a consistent front line, at this moment in time, I'd say the one consistency we must adhere to and keep in the team is Hakim Ziyech on the right wing. He looks very, very good over on that side, but we move into box number 5, and it's another red for transitions. Chelsea seriously struggled in this game. We looked very tired, which considering we've had a break, it can kind of sometimes work both ways. People go on holiday, they get a little bit too lackadaisical, maybe they're not doing any personal training while they're away, and then we come back and it's an FA Cup tie against a team that we should be beating, but at the end of the day, this is a cup final for Plymouth. They come to Stamford Bridge knowing this is one of their biggest matches in their recent history. And we just did not seem to coherently put anything together. When we won the ball back, there was a lack of movement. There was a severe lack of what seemed to be interest from players to actually get on the ball in this game against Plymouth. And then when we were actually going forward, we kept losing it, kept giving it away, and wasteful once more. I gave it to transitions because I think when Chelsea can get those transitions right, particularly when you've got the likes of Mason Mount, Mateo Kovacic in the team, we've got to be doing better than this. And I think this result is fine because, like I said at the beginning, it's an FA Cup tie. You just want to get through. But the performance was lacking in so many areas. And it was lucky when we move into box number 6 that Marcos Alonso is basically a bloody striker. I said this, everyone said it in the Chelsea community, I think on YouTube at least. Alonso could play up front. You know, we're using him as a left wing back. Got Malang Sarr playing at left back, which is great news. Marcos Alonso came on at half time. Sarr moves into the middle and Christensen comes off. And then Marcos Alonso, as he's done quite frequently in his Chelsea career, comes up at a big time with a big goal. And I know it's kind of unfair because a lot of the recent times in recent videos where I've been talking about Chelsea's lack of business. Is Alonso good enough to be that backup we rely upon until the end of the season for Chilwell? I've consistently said no. But credit where credit's due, Alonso dug Chelsea out here. He scored the goal to win us the game. Kepa obviously saved the penalty that inevitably was the key moment to win us the game. But Alonso once more turning up in that striker position, getting forward, always looking to advance, and he scores Chelsea's winner. Now, I want to say a massive thank you for all the support recently, all the patience too. I've been moving house, feeling a bit rough again, just also feeling just burnt out by YouTube. Sometimes I just overthink everything and I don't know what to talk about, what to post. And I just want to say a thank you to everybody who understands this nature of sometimes I'm very inconsistent, a bit like Lukaku, our striker really. But yeah, thank you for all of the support. Thank you for all the love. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this 6 Things We Learned episode. And I'll catch you later for some Chelsea news. Club World Cup week, let's go.